I love this country. I've always wanted to come back here.
At first, Jesse was offered the role of George. And I was like, wow, you're so lucky. You have to do this movie. I love Jane. I've always wanted to work with her. I remember FaceTiming her for the first time and just with bated breath. And when she's like, will you play my Rose? I was like, we're going to New Zealand, everybody.
It's one of the most beautiful places when it comes to the environment and untouched nature.
And action!
I was taken to a place near the Hawkton Ranges, and I fell in love with it. It's so remote, and it's 365 degrees empty, with an amazing hill range behind it. It just felt so atmospheric, and the weather was strong. It was the best choice for us.
We ended up in this ranch called Home Hills, a cattle and sheep farm mixed. It has some very historic existing shepherds' cabins and sheep shearing buildings and things like that.
Well, I remember the first time driving up on the South Island to that ranch, I was blown away. It's not many times that sets that are built from the ground up, you kind of see like, okay, but like the paint looks a little cheap, or like the wood looks, they skimped here. But this, I was just, like, no one should tear that down. It was masterful.
This film has some of the most incredible sets that I've ever seen. The house looks like it's been there for ages, the fences, the barn. It just immediately transports you. Did not feel like I was in New Zealand.
The curious thing about New Zealand is that it's got such an extraordinary variety of landscape. And down south in Otago, it's very, very empty. Empty like 1925 empty.
I think that did really influence the costume and that sort of simplicity, because the characters are just set against this kind of emptiness in many ways. And also, you know, the palette becomes really informed as well by the colours of those hills.
It lent itself so well to this period. There's so much more space in the part of the South Island, the central Otago that we filmed in, and to be surrounded by that and to have a cultural relevance to that, a language of landscape, there was just such synchronicity. It just all felt like it was meant to be.
Further to that, we were using Oamaru for the Herndon township. Oamaru is a very old town, actually on the coast, the east coast of New Zealand, that has a historic quarter that miraculously has survived development and things like that. It's in its original state.
New Zealand holds a very special place in my heart. I shot here like 6 years ago. Ever since then, it's just like, I don't know, I've always since then called it my sanctuary in a very spiritual way, I would say. The people here, they have something so special about them in which they've carried on the fire of their Indigenous nature.
I've never worked in the South Island before, and I don't know, I feel it's so much fun working at home because you're supporting your country's film industry. They're kind of people who were there from the beginning of this journey for me.
I love New Zealand Crews because they really get involved in the projects. It actually means something to them to be working on a film they love. And I'm around people that are charged up with that enthusiasm for doing something, telling a story really well. And to be in that environment, I think, for New Zealand Crews, it matters.